I think one of my friends cried when Sora came out, and it was just like such a big deal, right? I think Ultimate just did a lot, and I don't even think the new like Smash game will get as much attraction as Ultimate. I mean, it probably will. Like you can't be an Asmongold as a female, right? No one's gonna like that. Um, um, but then I look at Extra Emily, right, and I'm like, that looks, maybe it's not, but that looks super fake, and super giddy, and like so much energy and so much like work, and I'm tired looking at it, right? Welcome everyone to the Steak Podcast episode 2. I'm your host Tommy, and I'm here today with Joshua and Horace.
Yep.
So, a lot has happened um since we've last done one. New world wise, and like just like information about like tech, gaming, and stuff like that. One of the bigger things that happened within the past time is there's a new VTuber on the block, and it's very interesting because this VTuber is fuck, I don't remember the name of it actually.
Saba.
This is definitely the
Saba.
most important thing that's happened in the world in the last month, I would say.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, it's the most important
I'm
thing
not
to
gonna
me.
lie.
Okay.
I was scared when you were starting. I was like, damn, this is not the. I was scared you were not gonna land the plane. And
No.
That's
I
crazy.
was like, I was like, the world. We didn't talk about that. Oh, huh.
But it's like some people, this matters to them a lot, right? I may or may not be one of those people. I'm not, but um, no, it's a big deal. I feel like and this like speaks a lot for entertainment and like corporate stuff in general. But the new person we're talking about is Tomoko Saba. Um, I don't know if you've seen the model. Uh, I'll pull it. Have you seen the model?
Yeah.
Yes.
So obviously, there's some correlations to another fish-friendly, not friendly, but ocean-like VTuber that was corporate in the past named Gargura.
Hmm.
Um, and I think it's just okay.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, sorry.
I'll just say, like, for some context, Gargura, like, the biggest, like, English-speaking VTuber, virtual YouTuber on the planet. And they leave their company, Hololive, and now they're re-debuting independently as Saba.
Hmm.
And I think it's very interesting because like I don't know how you guys found out about it, right? I think it literally just randomly blew up, and I think a coworker talked to me and was like, "Yo, did you hear that like this VTuber blew up?" And I was like, "Bro, what? Like a random VTuber blew up? That's like nothing. Like what is it? Like another contract from like Hall Live or I'm gonna say Ninja Sanji, but I think that's Love Live. Oh my god, Ninja Saki? I don't remember. But anyways, but no, 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 no. They said it was an independent one, and I was like, that's crazy because like for my limited knowledge of what I know about VTubing, I don't think people blow up like that, right? And he was like, yeah, this person already has like, like a ton of following, and all they did was like a small reveal trailer, and then he told me I was like, oh yeah, it may be Gargura, right? And I couldn't watch it at the time, but now having watched it and seen the motto and some stuff, I'm like that. I think that speaks a lot because I don't think there was a lot of things to talk about when like everyone was disappointed when Gura left, but I don't think anyone thought it was like for a bad reason or anything like that. But I don't know. What are your 2 sentences on it?
Or
Uh,
enlighten us as the VTuber
okay.
expert.
Okay. So in my head, it wasn't like her leaving was not surprising. In fact, if you paid attention, she never streamed. It was like the joke where she would stream once every like a couple months, and then she would take long breaks. And I was like, so when she wanted to retire, I think people were very sad, but people were kind of also very understandable. Um, I guess what I'm curious about in my watching was um, I was very curious about the reason she cannot discuss this, but like the reasons why she left, we can guess. Like, I
So,
think there's like, being a corporate VTuber, you mean like there's a lot more responsibilities and corporate models, and you have to you're a cog in the machine, and you have to respond to what the machine asks sometimes. And I think sometimes people do not want that.
See,
This is
that's
speculation. Yeah.
that's
You
the
know,
interesting thing.
I saw a tweet like, and they're like, I don't know about VTubing. Explain like what's happening to me. And they're like, remember when Tucker Carlson left Fox News? And I feel like that's a very accurate that's a very accurate analogy. Because like right now, I think Tucker Carlson's like top three podcaster on Spotify or something dumb like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, obviously like Fox News is like the biggest like cable news channel in the country. And I think it's the same thing for like Hololive. It's the biggest VTuber agency. And like Tucker Carlson show was the biggest like show on that biggest like, cable news agency. And now Gargura, the biggest English one on Hololive, has gone independent and now I think probably gonna make more money, have more freedom like as a entertainer, what she can do, and yeah. I think it makes a lot of sense in the same way, I guess.
It's very
Mm.
shocking because I have in the recent like 4 years, 3 years, have been falling out of VTubing. I actually haven't watched. I'm subscribed to a decent amount of them, but I haven't actually watched a lot of VTubing streams or anything like that within the last couple of things. So actually, when you said Girl wasn't streaming, I actually didn't know that. I just thought like she moved on because I know like before that Amelia Watson, which is probably like the number two or closest to that, right? Quit, or it's a weird thing because I'm pretty sure.
Graduate.
Yeah, no, no, no. Well,
Graduate.
like she didn't graduate either, is what I heard. She like had like this weird like thing where like she's kind of with the company, but like not a name or whatever. Um,
No, she graduated. She's done. Like as a VTuber, she's not working for them anymore. I don't
yeah.
know if, but I don't know. Speaking of, I was more reflecting. I guess I do watch more VTuber. Although my history is more like I know sadness and pain because I just got into Hollow Live by watching Sana, and I was like, damn, like Sana from Gen 2. Remember her? You
So, oh, the Moon Girl, the first one to
yeah,
graduate.
yeah,
Wait,
she was the
her? I thought it
first.
would be like like the
Yeah,
Fauna one.
she was my favorite because she would play Pokemon. I was like, oh, this is what Hololive. 3 months later, she graduates. I'm like, damn. At least we got. And then I fell back on my other two favorite, Amelia and Fauna, and then we've ended up poorly with that. And so now I'm moving on to like, I guess Gigi's the hot one right now. But it's like I don't know. I think like this indie corporate to indie pipeline is a very like I think like that's the move because um, in general, if you look at the streaming numbers of all these all of the people who have left, excluding Sana, who like really left, like just disappeared off the face of the planet, everyone's like numbers are incredibly high. Like Saba did like a karaoke stream today. I remember checking her numbers. It was at 72K live, all at just watching. And I was like,
Well,
oh, that's around the numbers that she used to do.
Watching stuff, bro.
like the number
Sorry.
one stream last year was it's the graduation of I forgot her name. It's from Hall Live JP. But it was like it was Aqua's graduation. There it was. It was Aqua's graduation. It was like the number one stream. It was like 100K plus people came in, and like like even just like random people come in and just like it was just all for Aqua stream for a Japanese person, right? Because like sure it may be big, but I don't know. I think it's
No,
just like
it's bigger
everywhere.
there.
I know
It's
it's big. No, it's
bigger.
bigger there, but like I'm not sure if we're pulling in like hundreds of people. I don't know, just from Japan, right? So like what I'm trying to say is like I think it was a global phenomenon that like we had like that many people and that like be the biggest stream last year or whatever, or maybe it was 2 years ago. I can't remember, but yeah.
No, ooh, I can't remember the exact timeline, but I remember that being tough. Well, I don't know. I don't really. I'm more of an EN guy. I like or ID as well.
You're an
technically,
ID guy? What?
I got in. I started watching when Gen 3 ID came alive. So I mean, I say like I watched Sana, but I was like a Kyla,
Gen
Kobo,
Gen
uh,
3?
Mm.
Zeta.
That's not with like Bay, like the the crazy hamster, right?
No,
That one?
ID,
Oh,
Indonesia,
that is
not
that. Wait,
the.
that. Wait, why did I think she was ID? Wait, why did I think that was
No,
ID?
she's not even. She's not even. That's not even a. Bro, maybe I am too far in. I'm starting to realize, yeah, because the joke's not even like we joke. The joke is that she's JP because she's fluent in like Japanese.
No, you're crazy.
But the real thing was, I don't know. Kyla was a gamer and she plays 18 hours in the. I think at the time I was not in school, so it was like easy to watch on like a lunch break or if I'm not doing things at the time. Um, so yeah, no, it was like
Oh my
I love
god.
the group.
Sorry. I am looking through now. I stopped. I think Gen 3 EN for Hololive just happened, and that's when I stopped really watching VTubers. We have two more generations after that.
Yeah,
We have Hollow Stars that are
Gen
English.
3?
Yeah, I
hmm?
stopped in Promise. We have Avent and Justice. Who are these people?
Yeah. I don't,
What?
bro. I guess I really am tapped in. You guys, you don't know what Fuumoco is? Damn.
Yeah.
Like,
Wait. So I recently so I've never watched VTubers live. Cringe. Definitely never watched English ones. But I like watching some clips of like the Japanese VTubers, especially like when they're speaking English or like I don't know, games where they do know English. Like I enjoy those videos. Just like the same way I enjoy videos of like, a guy walking into like a restaurant and trying to in like China and trying to speak Chinese with like the locals or whatever, right?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I have like seen like the recent stuff because I did just have like another phase like 2 weeks ago. Um, so that's why I think I'm like also tapped into the Gura stuff. Um, so you're not like I do know most of the people who you're talking about just from clips, but yeah.
All
Look,
right.
I'm gonna say this. I remember I was watching Sage M Slam's like not this current one, but his last thing, and I saw a Hollow Live member get finals, and I was like, I don't know who this guy is, right? I didn't even know Ian was doing Hollow Stars, and
Yeah.
it was like
I'm
his
gonna be
name is
honest.
like Machina X Flayon, and I was like, what is this guy? And then they went to Japan and they had a cardboard cutout and everything, and I was like, this is crazy, like what?
I'm
And-
not gonna lie. Like most Whole Life members, we're not tapped into the males. So like, uh, I mean, like
Crazy.
there is like a legit. I think it's Whole Life male. Like if you're a male in Whole Life, it's kind of like it's a tough spot because it is like a female centered company, and also a lot of the Hollow girls have mentioned that they prefer just working with like the other women in their space. So it's kind of become like a thing where like it's it's like the stepchild that we don't talk about. So like sometimes I'll see them, I'm like, oh, I guess yeah, I remember them. That's that's so interesting. That's what they're up to, and then I kind of quickly forget about them, and I keep moving on. Um,
I
Wait,
don't know. I feel okay. Men dominate flesh tubing,
this is true.
so I
yeah,
think like it's okay for a woman to have this dub.
Also,
no, yeah,
I'm just finding out Mumi is gone. The owl girl.
bro, you're so
Not
you even said the name wrong, but you're so
Is it not Mumi?
Mume.
Mume. Sorry,
Bro, tap
bro.
in.
Uh,
Tap in.
I feel like I'm
guys,
talking to a
moving back,
fan who's about to get
moving
tackled.
guys back to Gura.
Sorry.
Her
Yeah.
ass model. That's what's really important.
Her what model?
Her ass model. Her new
Oh, is it
model. Okay.
bad? I didn't think it was that bad. It just
So
looks too similar.
I don't like how childlike it is. Okay. First of all.
I,
Okay. And then also, I just think it just doesn't look that good. And I think it's hard with VTubing these days because everything's been done, right? Like, there's no way to actually like stand out,
Yeah.
like model wise. Like, you just like create a design, whatever. Like, who cares? But I don't know. I guess I wasn't a Gura fan in the first place, but like this just looks like I don't know, so unappealing to me.
Uh, I'm looking at it now, and I've seen it before, but like now that I'm actually looking at it again, first of all, is it a cat? Is it a cat shark? Like, what is this?
It's a catfish.
Oh, it's a
Catfish.
catfish. Oh, I hate it. I actually just hate this. Oh, um,
I'm not gonna lie, it's like an uncanny valley with her original, and then it's also like it is like weirdly younger, which is I don't know. I don't know.
I'll say this about
Yeah,
it.
I don't know.
I wasn't also not the biggest Gura fan. I think it may be just because like I don't know. I watched her one. I think the only stream I watched was like the Luigi Mansions 3 when that came out for Switch, and she was playing it. And I was like, I don't know. I guess I wasn't there for like the crazy moments that Gura has, but I don't know. I also don't feel. I know how Gura sounds, and I feel like I can see it, right? And I feel like this kind of fits perfectly with like the voice, but I don't know.
I think I have to agree with Tommy, where I don't necessarily. I agree with both your points. Where I don't like the model, but I do think it fits her voice and persona, and so I'm like, okay, that that's fine, I guess. And then I don't know. I was never like a. My take of Gura was always like, oh, it makes sense that she's the most popular VTuber. But maybe I'm the hipster inside me was like, no, I should. You know what? Let me see the road slash less traveled. But like, she's also just really entertaining. She's a great entertainer, truthfully. So
Actually,
yeah,
really?
yeah. Uh, I'm saying water's wet, but yeah, turns out she's pretty good at her job. Yeah.
Okay.
I
Are VTubers actually as entertaining as like the like most popular streamers though?
You
Like
know,
actually,
no,
like
and
um I here's the thing. They offer something entirely different, which is I don't know what to say.
here, why you
I
say?
think they provide like a female perspective that's not offered in flesh tubing, and like a
do you
female.
watch female flesh tubers?
Yes, but it is way different in that they are it you could feel that like the streaming space in general in human world is like a male is way more male dominated and
Hmm.
patriarchal, and like you can feel uh like for example Pokemon. I'm like, oh, this is uh like you could feel like some of the issues with being a woman in a male dominated space where sometimes can affect their like streaming and the jokes they want to make. Things
I
blow
get what
up
you're saying.
easier.
Yeah.
Where like, oh, if you're in like a VTuber, it's like the safety and why I think like VTubing's probably good in general is like, oh, you're somehow protected by like the model protects you. So it becomes like everyone's uh it's like a weirdly like people are way more respectful or like and even if they're like do things like oh sexualize the person, it's like it's different from like sexualizing a actual person versus like sexualizing art like
Because it's
someone
still like
made.
a character, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
so it becomes like a way more chill environment. Yeah.
I'll say this right. So as someone who's watched heavy VTubing in the past, and someone who actually does watch not a decent amount, but like I watch some female flesh tubers. God, I hate saying that. Female flesh tubers now.
Yeah,
Um,
we're just being it's cringe,
You don't
but
have to
we're
say
cringe
flesh
right
tubers.
now.
I'm memeing.
you know, no,
Yeah.
no, I know. But uh,
No.
I will say I think I'm going to name drop, and this is gonna be really bad. Please don't hate me, and if you ever see this, which you never will, please be on the show. Thank you very much. Um, I think
First
VTubing
drone drop. Yeah.
provides a medium where people can be more open and reactive to true selves. I think with female flesh tubing, there is a lot of you have to act a certain stereotype, unless you've already adapted like a chaotic nature. I feel like you either like have to be like very like like you can't be Asmongold as a female, right? No one's gonna like that. Um, um, but then I look at extra Emily, right, and I'm like, that looks, maybe it's not, but that looks super fake, and super giddy, and like so much energy and so much like work, and I'm tired looking at it, right? But when I watch some VTubers, and maybe this is just because I'm watching fighting games currently, but I watch like Doki Bird, I watch SK, I'm watching oh my god, I can't remember her name, the one who plays Jury, um, they all just like curse, yell, freak out. They're just, I feel like they're just their true selves, right? Um, and like maybe it's not, and like yeah, but like I feel like when you're behind a camera, no one can see you. I feel like it's more open, and I feel like I get somewhat more true emotions, and people like even just for a little bit trying to put up a facade. I watched Iron Mouse talk about some stuff, and it was like, I don't know, Iron Mouse is unhinged sometimes, and I think that's like the nice thing about it is like they're very unhinged, and you don't get that sometimes because sometimes you need to put up a facade for female YouTubers and streamers because sometimes that doesn't work with some audiences. But when you look at VTube, you're like, oh, okay, these people can go crazy. People look for that because you're not relating that to a face, right? And like, yeah, I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. I think I like it. But I do like IRL streaming because I like seeing personal interactions. I like when like they do stuff. I watched Cutie Cinderella's, what is it, Master
Baker.
Baker the last weekend, and it wasn't like all females, right? But just seeing how they interact is really fun, which you don't get truly with flesh tubing or VTubing. But I don't know. Those are my regrets about it. But I still love. I'm griping all about IO streaming, but like I said, I do like it. I do like it more than VTubing. Obviously, now I do. But yeah, that's how I feel about it.
I think what you said was contradictory because like VTubers are playing a character, right? But I think you are like completely right. Like even though like I don't know, paradoxically, like I think them playing a character does allow them to be more of themselves strangely, which is kind of
Yeah.
weird, you know?
Yeah, I
A
do
hundred.
notice that now. Now that you say it.
But no, but you're right, and I didn't actually think about that. That's a really good point.
No, it's I don't know. It's a hard. Like the gaming space is just a hard environment if you want to be like a gamer on camera and a woman. And for some reason, it's well, not for some reason. If you just play like you stick yourself behind a picture of an anime girl, it becomes a little bit easier for you to be yourself. Um,
Y-
like it becomes nicer.
You know,
Um,
I was talking to a
yeah.
coworker about corporate VTubing because he was like, he was talking about how he's kind of like happier for Saba because it's not corporate, and like VTubing has changed a lot since like Hololive Myth, right? And he was talking about he was talking about like how it's like kind of like a cash grab now, for a lot of it. Like we have so many, like if you kept like maybe even just Council and Myth, like that's such a good repertoire. But like we're cash, and maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I haven't watched the newest VTubers, but like it's just like cash grab. Like I haven't seen any clips of. I still see clips of like Callie, Kiara, and even Ame clips to this very day, but I don't see any new VTuber clips. Um,
I don't know. The algorithm doesn't want you to see them. I
no,
don't
no, and
know.
that
You're
is
not
true. That
watching.
that is my algorithm. But saying this is like, sorry, going back to my actual thing, is like corporate VTubing is very interesting because came to the point like back when VTubing first started, or like when it got popular during COVID. It was like, I would have done it, and I do when I do stream, I do actually do P and Ging. which is what's happening right now. Um, because not everyone looks appealing, and sometimes that matters for people who actually stream IRL, and sometimes appearance matters, and sometimes you want to hide behind it. And yes, sometimes you have a story and they can help out, but sometimes it's just it's just that medium of like getting people in, right? I think Iron Mouse talked about it as like, Iron Mouse has medical problems, and she's like literally hooked up to wires, and she didn't want people, like, she wanted to stream, but she didn't want people to come in and be like, why the hell you have wires hooked up to her to in stream, right? And like, what the hell is this, right? But obviously Iron Mouse is big because of like VTubing and other stuff. And then my friend said, oh well, but nowadays corporate VTubing is like, how much jiggle physics and appealing can you make it be? And I don't know, it's very interesting.
I don't necessarily agree with your friend's point. I think, like, again, corporations make everything way more PG, like PG 13. Like, it's still like rare for any Hololive. I'm mostly speaking about Hololive, but like they don't really curse or like do anything weird. If they, it's a way more of like an indie thing. I don't know. I kind of disagree, but yeah.
No, I get that. No, I understand both ends.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know, with this coming out. I don't know. I haven't seen the debut stream. I saw the reaction. I saw the motto, or not the reaction. The first initial like short video thing. I don't know. I do feel like it's a better, especially because I didn't know Girl wasn't streaming. There probably was some corporate stuff going on, and I thought she left happily or whatever, but no, or maybe not. But that's speculation, to say the least.
If I had to guess, I think she probably wanted to leave for a long time, but didn't know how to, or like she was, it's hard to like leave something that big. Like, you're the biggest. She is the biggest VTuber on the planet. Her model was played like in baseball.
Yes.
Sorry, no, Dodger Stadium. And I'm like, oh, that's really hard to leave. But then if you ever watch her, it's clear that she kind of was not that present in any of the Hololive things going on. So I'm like, I think this might be better for her. Or maybe she doesn't. Maybe she also, I don't know, sometimes I think about streamers and I'm like, what do you do if you're a streamer and you don't want to do that job anymore? Because I'm like, you can't do anything. This is such a weird niche of a job. Or
Sorry.
like,
just to add on to what my friend said, I just remember this right now. Is I remember he was saying like, sorry, it's not a cash grab versus corporate, it's a cash grab for everyone, right? Like, I don't know if like there's some VTubing drama, right? There's like obviously VTubing drama every day, but a lot of it deals with like, what is it, Cinder and Yaki, they like those VTubers come out and like they did it just kind of like for money in a sense, right? And like there's like DM chats about all of it, and like that's the one thing is like VTubing's changed. Like these people actually did it because maybe they're like shy, or maybe they just felt more comfortable doing an avatar, right? But then he was talking about, no, sometimes nowadays, like, and it's not all the case for everyone, by the way, but VTuber, like, some people would do it for money and just for money, right? And get popular because it's more money. And like I said, we have evidence of some VTubers actually doing it for money and getting canceled out of it. But that's just like the one big thing is like how VTubing has changed, and kind of like we both fell out of VTubing. But yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I think it's the difference between indie and corpo. I'm like, oh, I don't necessarily know this, but yeah, fair.
But
anyway,
otherwise, I don't know if you have you guys watched the preview stream? Did it go well? What happened?
I didn't watch it.
Not really. I just saw like clips and I was in and out.
Was it funny? The clips you saw, like, was she more natural, funny? At least an old girl,
I would not say that. it was clear like she was trying to not cancel herself. You
What?
know what? Like
What?
she was like, I'm not trying to refer to myself as Gargura, or else I will die. Life will murder me. But so there was always times like, oh, I remember when you, she'd be like, oh yeah, remember in the past stream? Oh wait, no, sorry, this is my first stream. You of course don't remember. I'm like, okay, uh, I
The
guess we all have to, pretend.
the Hololive ninjas are coming out.
Yeah,
About to get some people. Interesting.
yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's very interesting. I'll leave it at that and saying for closing remarks, it's like I don't know how you guys feel about it. It's for me, but if it makes her more, I don't know. Like I said, I remember watching some old girl clips, and again, I didn't watch extensively, but I seen clips of her being very funny and very charming, and I'm like, maybe I'll sit down and watch a stream whenever I'm bored or editing, homework, work, school, whatever, right? But
Mm.
it's I don't know, it's very interesting because again, just leads a lot of drama about Hololive, corporate, um, and stuff like that. But any other
Yeah.
remarks you guys want to say?
No, I think I'm out. I'm.
All right. Well, now that we have talked about some exciting, thrilling news, you know, I think it may
You
be
could work on
time.
this transition, bro.
Okay. Anyways, I think it's time to talk about some a little bit harder things in streaming news, right? Some hard topics that have happened within the last week, as C9 or previously known as C9 Mango, um, has been dropped from Cloud9, and everything revolving around that.
Yeah. I'll start saying something. I think like we've talked about this somewhat. You know, Cloud9 Mango, probably the best melee player of all time. He sexually harassed some woman at Ludwig's Bureau card event. And then he's been like banned from like some Smash tournaments later this year, dropped from his team, generally like, lambasted online, whatever, whatever. And I guess first of all, I think the most important thing, I think it shows like I guess similar to what we're talking about with female flush tubers in our VTuber like talk, like how hard it is to be a woman in the streaming space. And I guess just how hard it is to be a woman in any male dominated space. Um
Go
because
woman.
like because yeah, like if you look at these clips, like just like I don't know, there are some clips where like people kind of stop him, but like they stop him and then like they just like leave him to continue on, right? And I'm not saying like I'm so much better than these people. Like don't know. Like if I was just like a random guest at that event, would have I really gone up to like Mango, like friend of the friend of the person who's hosting an event, large streamer? Would I really go up and be like, this guy probably needs to leave? Probably not, right? So I think yeah, it just shows how crappy those kind of situations are. Then for like the melee community, I think having like your best player, like your most popular player, like have this kind of controversy is just pretty damaging. I know we all love melee here, but I think we've all like don't watch it that much anymore. And I think if Mango's like not like attending tournaments, like as us for people who've been like watching melee for like almost a decade, like I don't know, Mango's one of the only last things left since like we connected with the game, so it's hard to, justify continue watching it. And
Yeah.
Uh,
then I think sorry, just the last part I want to talk about. Ludwig's like behavior. I think I've just changed my view on it somewhat. I think initially I was like, you know what, I don't blame Ludwig. Um like it's it's a crappy situation, and I don't think Ludwig's like a bad person or anything. I think it's a difficult situation, but I don't know. Like he definitely knew that Mango had like trouble with alcohol, and like I I understand the dynamic there. Like, one of the things like everybody knows about Mango, oh, like he can drink so much, like he can do all of this, blah 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 blah. So then I think you can say that, but if you're gonna like accept the alcohol thing, then I don't think you can talk about alcohol in the aftermath, right? Because like I feel like in the aftermath, he does like put the blame on Mango, but he's also like, oh, I didn't know like this alcohol was a problem like this, blah blah blah. But like, if you're gonna ignore the clear alcohol problem in the first place, I don't feel like you can then go back and then blame the alcohol. I think you just have to be like, this is Mango, even if that feels like a shitty thing to say.
You know, I'm gonna say this because I'm pretty. I don't know how I feel about the Ludwig Mango situation. I'll talk about the Ludwig one first because you just talked about it. But with Ludwig's address towards Mango, let's say one of you guys, and you guys aren't alcoholics that I know of, right? And
On
if you
record, yeah.
guys, if you guys drink, and you guys tell me, I'm not an alcoholic, right? I don't know. I feel like I believe you. I trust you enough, and like obviously like that can be broken, right? And I think obviously it is kind of hardening to see Ludwig talk about it because I feel like it did break Ludwig. I was like, oh shit, this is real, right? Like I had an assumption, but I trusted his word, right? And maybe like you underlying from the outside, yes, right? But like as a friend wise, when you're inside, I think it's just a little bit of difference, right? Like Ludwig did say he walked up to Mango, and he's hosted this before where they've drunken a lot and gotten drunk. Uh, this one they come a little too crazy. I felt like, but they gotten drunk, and this Mango has never been this crazy before, right? We've never seen Mango this crazy. Um, at least I haven't seen Mango this crazy.
Sorry, I'm
And
gonna interrupt you, but like this crazy, right? Like, I don't like he just recently got arrested, like at an event for like public intoxication and all of that. Like everybody, like Mango and like Ludwig talk about like their drunk fights like all the time, right? Like I think he's known to get rowdy when drunk. Okay, this is like sexual harassment is different from rowdiness. Don't get me wrong, right? But like I don't think anybody was pretending that like drunk Mango was like an upstanding citizen, and this is like the most shocking thing like ever. Cause like I'm not saying like Mango. Actually, I'll let you continue.
yeah, no, no, and okay, so I'll say this: I'm not trying to like defend anything or Ludwig's view on this, right? My thing is those like, and it's hard to say, right? But like on the inside, as your best friend, like Ludwig and Mango are friends, right? Like so they drink all the time, and you've seen this man drink, and yeah, it gets rowdy, but like sexual assault has never, for my assumption, right? And maybe I'm wrong because I'm not, a part of any of that, but I'm assuming that sexual assault has never happened with Mango while drinking, right? Getting rowdy, whatever, right? If I get rowdy with you guys and like start like play fighting, because I don't think they actually like full on brawl. Maybe they did, but like obviously not enough to like call any attention to it, right? But like it seems that's what I'm trying to say is like for stuff like that, I don't think Ludwig has seen it, right? And it's hard to say that Ludwig, as a friend of Mango, you ask him like, "Are can you handle beer?" And I was like, "Yes," and you have backup proof. It was like you never sexually assaulted someone at a at any of my tournaments before. There were females there. Whenever I invite them to other stuff, right? And it's hard to tell because like it's just trust, right? And obviously, I think Ludwig and Mango's trust got broken for drinking. I don't think they're not friends anymore. But I think it's just hard to like say as a friend, right? Because like you are blindsided as a friend sometimes, right? Um,
Well,
and we're in the outside, so that's why it seems like kind of crazy. But I'm just thinking like more of the inside, like perspectively is like I can see a world where Ludwig didn't actually see this and he just trusted Mango, right? And that's
well, I
probably
don't
what happened.
I don't think it's just a friend thing because I think that this is like based off of reaction and how everyone responded. It's also like Mango is a guy that everyone kind of looked up to because like everyone who's joined the scene, we all knew, like one of the reasons why we think of the scene and we think of Melee as so cool is like Mango, the best player, like he's been around, and like he's I think Ludwig and everyone he's like Melee players are pretty open about the fact that like they love him and looked up to him as like a player, but also as like a person. So it's like very difficult to challenge a guy that you kind of look up to, even though it's hard to, even though you can see something very clearly wrong, like, and maybe let things get ignored, which becomes way more difficult when things get hard, like now. Um, I mean, I think that's why one of the reasons why everyone reacts in the melee community for like hardcore heads of the game, it's like the reaction's not like just like enraged, like get him out. It's like, oh, it's like a severe disappointment because it's like watching an idol go, like one of your idols go down, even though we all knew it was like a problem. If they sat there and like if we sat there and asked a bunch of people like, oh, did you think Mango's drinking was a problem? They'd be like, yeah, I guess we could have seen it coming, but it was more like shocked because they didn't want to, which is tough to be in the person. This is not like a no in terms of like Ludwig. Yeah, I do think like you kind of you still have to take a lot of blame because even though you it's a hard dynamic, you still have like a responsibility as like a person to make sure that like other people if you like are hosting a party, you have a responsibility to make sure that the people you come bring don't like harm other guests or hurt other guests. So I don't know. I really do think there should be like blame on him. It is weird where I'm like, oh, I think he's gonna move on very cleanly, or like he's already moving on to doing other like he's doing League again. And I'm like, okay, that's really weird. There's a you're definitely still involved in this, but I guess that's how Twitch rolls. But um, it's yeah, I don't know. I agree with Josh right at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, and okay, I'll say this for the last Ludwig thing because I do want to talk about Melee community just a little bit, but like you said, I don't think Ludwig's in the right or wrong either. I'm not actually like pro Ludwig or whatever. Um, I just think like you can be blindsided as a friend, right? And that's all I'm trying to say is like I don't know, like they're close. I see them hanging, like you see videos of them hanging out and whatever, and I can see a world where like you're blindsided by it and you're just like, oh shit, like I don't know, I can see a world where Ludwig should take responsibility and like I think
No, I think yeah, I
he
agree that he's blindsided, but I don't know. Yeah, keep
I
going. Sorry.
guess
I,
I just don't believe this narrative that. mm, Okay, I guess let me just start like, I used to, somewhat look up to Mango, sure, I would say. Not like in like I don't know, as like a player, right? Like, oh, I want to get good at this game, right? Blah blah blah. Like I
Yeah.
don't know Mango, right? Um but like it's been like for the last like few years, like I've liked Mango less and less every single year. And I've talked about this with both of you, and it's just like I don't know, like when you're seeing like this 35-year-old man where his thing is like, you know, getting drunk, Mango Nation, like he's like low key an asshole. Like that was like kind of cool when like back in the day, right? But like then you're just like, oh, okay, like it's not as fun anymore. Like I'm not saying like I'm not saying Ludwig should have expected Mango to sexually harass people, but I feel like he should have been more like I don't think he can pretend like he was like completely blindsided. Like, oh, it was like this is like literally like the best guy I knew, right? And then like suddenly he sexually sold people. Like this is somebody with some serious character flaws already, you know? Like I think there's like it's like out of all loaded friends, like if this was gonna happen to somebody, like this was probably gonna be like the person, you know? Like
Yeah.
I'm thinking about my friends. I'm like, okay, like I'm
I don't.
not friends
Hold
with
on, what'd you
anybody
just
that
have?
I think would sexually assault somebody, right?
Okay,
But I
that's a
do
good
have
point.
like a likelihoodness in my head, right?
Whoa,
Like
whoa,
there's
whoa,
some
that's
things where I'd
crazy.
be like, okay, like I would like, leave this person with like anybody, right? But there's some people I was like, okay, maybe I should stay a little vigilant here, Like I think that's just like base responsibility. Like I think you should have that. Like I won't completely get like take Ludwig off the hook, I guess. Like I think he should have been more vigilant.
I would say, yeah. I know. I think you're like I said, like Ludwig's not 100% free, and I think I do when I watch the thing, I was like, he. I feel like he is kind of shifting the blame. I was like, oh, like again, and like he talks about his company, and he's like, we downsize, and I was like, like he's making valid points, but it's not what you should be saying, right? And like in the end, he does get to it. Is like, it's just like why even say at that point? Like, he's talking about like his whole company downsizing. He was in the event, and they're valid. Like he was in the event. He was trying to have fun and host, right? But like, if your main goal is to have everyone have fun, I think you do take in this you could happen, just like you said, because Mango does have a history of drinking. Then maybe you do sit back and maybe you just don't have fun, right? That's sucky to say as someone like who wants to have fun, but maybe you don't do the bureau car and you just sit back, watch. You be the sober person, you be the designated driver, and that's just my personal opinion. I understand it sucks, right? And I understand like that's why I don't blame it particularly, but there's stuff that you could have done, right? And that's what I'm saying. Like I'm not pro Ludwig or whatever, but there's stuff that could have been done. Stuff like I can see too that are valid, but it's a mess. And I think honestly he did the best thing, which is sadly you move on, don't talk about it, and you keep streaming because like you're not the one technically at full fault here, right? Obviously Mango is the one who did everything, right? And you did give an explanations what you could do, and then you move on. Life goes on. Play League for
Pretty much like I kind
hours.
of like
No,
agree. Like I'm not like I think anybody like harassing Ludwig or like like saying like he needs to be canceled for this is like insane, right? And like I
yeah.
think he could have had like all this self-reflection and just not want to talk about it on stream. Like I think that's completely fine, right? Like I'm sure he's had plenty of self-reflection, right? Like but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just like yeah, no, I'm just saying I agree with you. Like I don't like I'm not hating on Ludwig for this. I still watch Ludwig. I like Ludwig. I think he's a decent guy, maybe even a good person. I don't know him, right? But like yeah, like yeah, I agree with you.
But I'll move on. And I want to talk about the Smash community, right? Because I think you brought up a good point. Is the time we grew up, it was a decade ago, or grew up. The time we grew up watching Melee was a decade ago, and a lot of stuff has happened since then. I think during that time we had, and not to bring up arrows, but we had all 5 active gods playing, and now we just have HBox.
Well, one barely, but two, yeah, it's tough. Um, it's it is like what's happened is like you'll have like a loss of innocence where you kind of grow up and you realize the things that you once thought were cool and not. That's how I felt. I don't know. I had that come to Jesus before. We were all Smash Four fans, and I think I had that during the events that happened before and during pandemic. But
Yeah.
I think it was like another step where I was like, oh wow, a lot of like the cooler, like to be honest, I think I was probably the biggest Mango fan out of the three of us. So I was more like thinking about it as if like, oh, a lot of like another part of like things that I watched is not how it like. I guess I got a view in a different light now. Maybe I don't know. It's kind of tough to watch, and I feel like a lot of I felt like I understood a bunch of melee players were like, or melee people in the scene where they're like, damn, this really sucks as like a whole. Um, to watch a guy that you like kind of grew up with to like I don't know like fuck up that bad in general.
Mango was the longest. a lasting American consistently signed player with 11 years. I'm pretty sure. I think Hungrybox is like 9, 10, something like that. If you count Curse. But Mango was the longest with 11. I'm pretty sure, and it's very interesting because we're losing. I don't know. Like we all have dropped out of Melee and watching Melee for a reason. I think it speaks a lot, right? Not one of us or one of our friend groups kind of watch Melee anymore. And I think that speaks a lot to like what happened in the scene. Because before we did have 5 really insane people that can take games off each other. And you don't know if 3 attended, 5 attended, you don't know who's gonna win. But now I'm expecting Cody and Zane in grand finals every time.
Well, I would disagree. I would. It was
I don't know if I would. Yeah, I don't know if I would like blame it on like the scene or like the current players or anything like that. Like I think the game itself, like we just had Donkey Kong added as DLC. You know, like
Yeah.
I think there's been interesting things happening, like gameplay wise. And like Marth coming back, I guess, with Zane. That was a while ago now, but
Yoshi's,
on the
Amsa's
Willow,
Yoshi.
yeah, Yoshi, and like I think like there's Laud with Peach, right? Or is that who I'm thinking of? Yeah.
Yeah, and then the J-Mook. J-Mook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sheik. Yeah, like I think there's a lot of cool things in the game. I think part of it is we're just older. Like, and we were, I don't know. Melee is definitely a game for diehards. Like, like I think that's just true. And we were more casual Melee, even though like to like the average person, nobody would call us casual Melee enjoyers, right? But to Melee players, we're casual as the fuck, right?
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
We were talking about One Piece earlier, and I mentioned I was 82 episodes in, and I'm like, that's how I feel about being a Melee casual. Where I'm like, in any other show, 82 episodes is a lot. One Piece, I'm like toe in. I'm barely in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's an important point. But then I think it's also just like, Melee will probably get a boost when the next Smash game comes out. We'll probably get like a new generation of players, like Gen Alpha, right? Like they'll probably Melee will come on the Nintendo Switch like GameCube bullshit, right? We'll probably have some like with the new Smash game, some Gen Alphas like playing Melee, learning it, like. The new Smash game might be in another like 5 years or whatever, but like Melee will trudge on.
So yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Is like, obviously, you take out a big figure, right? Like Mango, and now you're like, well, what does the viewership and the future of Melee looks like? Because I don't know, like obviously the highest probably viewing streamer for Melee are Hungrybox fans, right?
Well, no, I think it's.
Maybe I'm wrong, but
I think it's Mango because Hungrybox's viewers are more like
No.
Smash Ultimate viewers.
But that's what I'm saying.
Like
With
single-
Mango being gone,
Yeah.
like what is the future of Melee? Or like I think we're obviously dropping. My prediction is like obviously we're dropping in numbers, right? And I thought about it and I was like, I told myself, there's no way Melee dies on this Mango Hill, right? And I was like, I can see it dying on this Mango Hill, and maybe I'm crazy, and like I know you just explained like why it wouldn't die, right? I still see Melee could die on this Mango Hill. I don't know.
I think we're entering the dark ages of like.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
I don't know. It's like we don't have like. I mean, it was already kind of starting with like the decrease of tournaments overall for the game and like Smash in general, and like low key, it's not as like hot as the pandemic era. It was pretty good from like pandemic has kind of hurt. Where coming back, it's not always been like we have not hit pre-pandemic numbers, but I just think like it's going to be in a dark age for a while. However, Melee fans and Melee players are all freaks, and so it doesn't. Out of all of the old games that continue playing, I think Melee has the best chance of continuing. Also, we're ignoring the fact that like Melee fans have rich people on their side. Like Ludwig still like downsizing, but still rich. Can run a tournament. Like,
But he's
um,
openly said like people were asking him like, well, what about Smash tournaments? Like what is it? What is it? The Ludwig hosted like a Smash Invitational before that. I think Leffen won last,
yeah,
and they're like, well, are you invite Mingles? I was like, I'm never planning to do a Smash tournament in the near future, for the time being. So don't need to worry about the whole Mango situation with that, right?
oh
Um,
yeah. I mean, no, I don't think so. This is part of the Dark Ages, but I don't think the Dark Ages will last forever. Like, I don't think that's it for Ludwig throwing Smash tournaments as like a.
no, I
Uh,
know.
it's like
But do
I
investors
don't know how.
really want to invest, especially after like Mango allegations, the game slowly dying, Nintendo not supporting it?
You don't
Obviously,
need
that's already
Sponsor?
been
investors.
happening.
Like
Yeah, he
as before,
sponsors
it's
his
a
players.
grassroots scene, right? Like
This is
Melee
true.
can like Melee can survive without the big sponsors, without the like huge investments and all that. Like it's they'll be fine.
Yeah, I think they'll. It's just gonna be like I don't know. There's like a brief period that we were not a part of, like where well, not brief, where it was like the Melee Dark Ages, where everyone
The
it would be
brawl,
like yeah, I guess during the brawl time,
the
where
initial launch
it's
of brawl.
just smaller pots, not like tournaments are way more rare, but like in general, I think they have like a great game plan. Like they were able to survive that where there seemed to be no open site. I don't know if it'll ever be like peak numbers again, but I think they'll just kind of continue to like putter on. I guess the real conversation is if I believe that they will ever get back to its Melee's peak in like the 2010s. I don't think so. I don't think we'll ever have like Hungrybox Armada 2016 anymore.
I
It's
agree with
just it's been too long. Game the game is it's every year time passes, it becomes harder and harder for that game to be like interesting to people because like we all probably have some memory of having like even us, we didn't grow up with like Melee, but like I'm pretty sure we all had some older person show us Melee at some point when we were younger and thought that game was interesting and that maybe helped us get interested. A guy like I imagine a 14-year-old now trying to be get into Melee. I'm like, what tie would you have? Like you would I don't know if you have like the same affinity to GameCube or like wouldn't know what a GameCube controller feels like or anything like that.
That's
Like compared to like us now. So I just don't think there's like the same audience for it anymore. But
yeah, that's true.
that's
And oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say yeah, cause like I played Melee like yeah, like I played Melee growing up. Like my cousin had a GameCube. He used to come, we'd play Melee. And then I was very excited for Brawl when Brawl came out. And then yeah, that's like my step into Smash, right?
hmm,
And yeah, but I'm not even like, but I guess I realize like the true like Melee kids, like the original Melee kids, are people who were like teenagers when Melee came out, right?
yeah,
Right? Like not like us, right? Not people in their like mid 20s now, right?
yeah.
Um, so like I did say that Melee would get a boost with the next Smash game, but I think the next Smash game might be its last like boost though. Like I think it might just be too aged out because like even like I think the kids now maybe they still have some connection to like the Wii or like I don't know. Like I feel like they can still find some connection to Melee, right? Maybe. But
I'm
I
gonna
Yeah.
think kids in another 10 years, I think no.
Oh,
Like they're
that's
gonna be
cool.
all Roblox, like all like is this like a Roblox mini game? Like what are you talking about? So, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say this as I sit down and got my Switch 2 and I was talking to coworkers about like games are gonna be released. What am I expecting, right? I said, oh, I'm hyped for the new Smash game, right? You know, like, well, what do you think's gonna be in it? And like, I was like, I don't know, like some cuts, some good changes, and they're like, why would I play that? And I was like, what do you mean? It's a new Smash game. And they were like, well, Ultimate has all the characters. Ultimate has insane amount of characters. It's fun to play Ultimate, right? And obviously these aren't like professional players or people who even play like at anywhere close to professional level. But like just like most of Smash audience is casual based, and talking to casual players, you know, I like here just even hearing that I was like, oh wait, people may not be excited. And like obviously people are excited for for a new Smash game because Sakurai is insane and will cook up whatever masterpiece he'll do. But talking to some people is like, even with the new Mario Kart, is like, why would I play the new one if like this one has everything, right? And it's like, I guess you're true. You're true and you're right. Like, when am I ever gonna get Sephiroth versus Sans? Even though he's a Mii fighter, Sans in Smash ever again, right? And I just feel like, well, for us, yes, we were appealed to Melee for different reasons, but I just don't feel like there's an entry to Melee anymore, especially like with such a grand game. I think Ultimate maybe its downfall because Ultimate is a grand game. It's one of the best games on the Switch. Everyone almost has one. It has so many representation of characters that people like. I remember when I talked to Sora. I think one of my friends cried when Sora came out, and it was just like such a big deal, right? I think Ultimate just did a lot, and I don't even think the new like Smash game will get as much traction as Ultimate. I mean, it probably will, right?
Wait. I think we're misunderstanding. Again, Smash Ultimate appealed to us because of our age. I think the goal is for the next Smash game to appeal to like people our age when Brawl came out, or like our age when in high school, and like that is what the goal is. Because uh, like I think if I were thinking as a consumer, um, I guess yeah, you're right that there's a lot. Smash Ultimate did give a lot for like they just added every single character, every single music, every single thing ever. But I think in general, if you're like a little kid, you don't really care or know about that really. All that really matters is like, oh, like uh is it new? What's the cool like when they bring out a new game and add new features, that's what that matters to you, really. You don't really care about like, oh, well, the older game actually has like this and that and the third. No. Um. Uh,
This is true, but
yeah.
like I think there's like a lot of recency stuff too. Like so, I've talked to a coworker. My work does like a game nerds game night out, and when I went to it I went to it last week to check it out, and I played some Smash games, and obviously it was casual, so like I did pretty well. But I was talking to some people about it still, and one of my friends he only really played Final Fantasy and like Spider Man. He got a PlayStation 5 just to play like the new Spider-Man game, and through that he played FF16, and then with the remakes of Final Fantasy 7 coming out, I just think I don't know like stuff like that. Like obviously it's not just Cloud, but like with Cloud and Sephiroth being in Smash, and people now like knowing like obviously we know who Cloud and Sephiroth were before, at least had an idea of it, right? A lot more people now know who Cloud and Sephiroth are because of the remakes, because they're also really good, right? And it's like, admittedly, do you think Cloud and Sephiroth are gonna be the next game? Maybe, but my money is probably not, right? Um,
I'm gonna be honest. Nobody cares about Cloud and Sephiroth. Okay, that's not true,
No.
right? People do care, but if you already care about Cloud and Sephiroth, you're already like somewhat of a hardcore gamer, to be honest, right?
Yeah.
Um, like those games have been like decently successful, but like the kind of audience that Smash gets, like it's the best-selling fighting game of all time, Ultimate, right? Like it's not getting just people who know who Sephiroth is. It's getting people who like only play Call of Duty or like, it's getting like everybody, right? And I don't think Cloud and Sephiroth are the needle. I think like what you said earlier about like characters like how do you top Ultimate? I think you're right. Like they can't top Ultimate. I think like I don't know if either of you have read like the Mario Kart World like developer diaries, but they talk about that. Like they're like Mario Kart 8, like we perfected a Mario Kart formula, right? Like where do we go from here, right? And they started developing the game in 2017. It came out in 2025, 8 years later, right? what they decided on was just like to go a different direction, an open world, right? I think with the next Smash game, they're not going to do an open world, hopefully, right? But I
Yeah.
think they're very much like you have to like just go a different direction. And like I think you said like how your friend was so hyped for Sora or your coworker. Like I think as the ultimate, I think the ultimate reveals very much showed like how what's the word? You can't continue doing like these hype reviews reveals forever, right? Like you just run out of characters that are exciting. Like I was always like, okay, we need Master Chief, right? I think Master Chief or like Kratos, like somebody from like Xbox or PlayStation would be like the last. I think that would be like the only possible character, maybe other than like a non-video game character that could like get crazy hype, like Steve or like whatever. Like I think the next Smash game, its hype is not gonna have to, it can't be in the character reveals, right? Like nobody like if you add like Gino, like okay, like some Nintendo nerds are gonna like be happy, but like nobody actually cares, right? Even like Sephiroth, like Final Fantasy, like to be honest, it's not that big of a franchise in the modern day anymore, right? It's more of like a legacy game series. So yeah, like I think Smash is going to be fine. I do think the next Smash game is going to take a while because of the reasons I said, and they have to get in a different direction. So since Kirby Air Ride's coming out this year, maybe like 8 years from now, I could see that in true, right? But
Honestly,
like,
yeah.
Yeah,
I could see that, but like,
but Ultimate's good. It's
probably
not
less
like
than that. But yeah, like I don't think the character stuff is gonna be a problem because I just think they're gonna go a different direction, I guess.
no, and like I said, and that's what I said. Sakurai's an insane person. He can get stuff done, right? I just like in my small feeble brain, who's not a game developer in Nintendo right now, just like it's hard to beat, right? Like yes, I would love Master Chief, even though I don't play Halo like that and other characters. It would be insane, right? But like obviously my feeble brain and somehow Sakurai would do this is I don't see how they get it, right? So I think our insane roster we have with Snake, Sora, Sonic, it looking like Fortnite out here roster. It's kind of insane, right? And obviously, I think they will go a different direction and they'll do very well. I'm not saying that's not the case, but it's just hard. And then, like I said, you already said that it is hard to beat. Same thing with Mario Kart 8. But relating that is sorry. Last thing is to Melee is like yeah, I think you're right. It's gonna be on this last leg, but and there's no appeal to play Melee immediately unless like you're a die-hard gamer who loves these like mechanics, right? I see no reason for you to play Melee.
I think the reason to play Melee. Actually, that's not true. I was gonna say the reason to play Melee has always been the gameplay. That's not completely true. I think like in the 2010s, part of the reason to play Melee was like the story, right? Like the five gods, like all this legacy, like I think that was part of the appeal of the game. But I think the gameplay always has been important, and it's still there. And to be honest, I guess now there are games like Melee, but there are no games like Melee that are as big as Melee, right? Like there's rivals and like Icons Combat Arena, like Melee clones exist, right? But I don't know. Like if you actually there's just no game that is like at the same level of depth. Like I think the only thing that could KO Melee is like rivals or like something like that. Like a game that yeah, just a Melee clone.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. It's hard to predict the future. Sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah,
But
yeah.
any last remarks regarding this whole situation, Melee's future, anything you want?
I was going to talk about Mario Kart. Looks so cool. Is I know we were saying like how do you improve on Mario Kart 8? But I'm like, damn, this heckin' new game makes me want to buy a Switch. Generally, I'm like, damn, you guys are
I
like they're
was
grinding off walls like Tony Hawk. That's so cool.
I was playing Mario Kart, and it was really bad because it was actually with 4 players on one TV, and your frames dropped to 30%, or sorry, not 30%, 30 frames per second. Um, but sorry, regardless about that, I was just saying like I was playing in person with a couple friends, and we were talking about it, and none of us really did the cool tricks, right? We all agreed the tricks are really cool. Like doing some like stuff off of Great Block Ruin is really cool. if you play the game like a normal person would, like, and obviously that's a part of the game, so you should learn it. But if you play the game like how normal Mario Kart was played, it's not all that fun, especially with intermediary tracks. It's but Josh has something to say about this. I'm pretty sure.
Do I like? I know I can't remember if we talked about this in the last episode, but I think you've never liked Mario Kart, right? So
I've
like
liked it. I just never got really too into it. I played all the Mario Kart games. I love them.
I'm not saying you've hated it, but I'm just saying like it's never been a game you've loved, right? So like
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think this game will change that for anybody. But I think the actual driving mechanics, like even independent of the wall grinding, is just great. Like the game feels good to control. Um, like
You
there's
haven't
a
played
lot
on
of
30 frames. You can't trick. It's so hard.
there's a lot of skill. And yeah, I haven't played at 30 FPS. But like I've played four player. Like I have played other Mario games like 30 FPS. Like I don't know. I think the fun of playing Mario Kart 4 players is more. What's the word? I don't know. I don't think like getting the trick is the most important thing there. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I think also like you can choose not to do intermission courses. Like I think the game definitely has something for everybody.
Well,
Like they
not.
did just change the online like
I
a
was gonna say
bit
not
and make
anymore.
it so you can't do that. But like I think that's important for people who actually like play Mario Kart, right? Not for casuals. So it's not
Yeah,
really
good
relevant.
game though. I do agree. It does look fun. Like I want to do these time trials and do these tricks, but I'm just speaking for. And by the way, my friend loves Mario Kart. He went on a work trip, and he was talking about like I want my Mario Kart fix, because like he loves Mario Kart 8. Like I think we played Mario Kart. It was funny because I didn't play with you guys, but we played a lot of Mario Kart 8 within the last like 2 weeks before the Switch came out. Then he left, and he was so sad because the Switch came out and he was in a work trip, and he was like, I don't get my fix anymore. I need my Mario Kart fix, and like I said, he even said that he was like, the tricks looks cool, but um, yeah, it's like it's cool to have 24 players. It gets really chaotic, right? You can go to first to like 12th like within a second, but I don't know. This is just Mario Kart, but yeah. With all that being said, we're talking about a lot of grown up stuff, and we're talking about how people are acting towards this, how corporate's changing, and within our lives, especially mine in general, our lives has been changing. I know since since like the last couple months, I have now graduated with a very hard degree. I've graduated in computer engineering, and I'm now starting to work, and I think it's very interesting converting from schooling 24/7 and like some work to like full grown work and like having this free time plus stress and stuff like that. I think it's just very interesting to think about, as like now I also have money, right? And as I said, when you have money, things go really bad, especially when the new Switch 2 comes out. So I think it's very interesting. But yeah, do you guys want to go a little bit into or explain a little bit about, I guess, what's happening now with you guys or where you're at? You don't have to, but I'll just give you the opportunity if you want.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I would describe, without saying our actual ages, like we're all in like our college, post college, early to mid 20s, not sure, uh, like transition period, like what we consider a transition period. And I don't know, it's been hitting me more lately, where I'm like, where you see a lot of people in different states of life, and you start getting weirdly existential. Where I'm like, for example, I took some time off school, so I'm still in like undergrad. I'm going to my senior year. However, I see people I like went to high school with. They like that. Some of them are. I saw one of them start to get married, or like people go through like way more serious things, and you start being like, oh, where should I be in my life right now? And like, am I doing everything? Like, uh, am I doing enough? Am I doing too much? It becomes very it's hard to like figure out if you were doing the best for yourself or is it's hard to know what direction to go really. It like feels driftless even though I'm doing everything I think I'm supposed to be doing, which is like finishing up school, applying to like internships, trying to figure out jobs, figure out what to do next year. But there's also like, oh, I don't know what to do next. You get that feeling,
Yeah,
people?
I'll agree. So and like stuff like it's again like I'm out of school work and stuff, so like that stuff's past me. But like social life too also matters. I when I was in college has met someone who's younger than me, by the way, and was already married. And like I met their whole fam, not whole fam, like his whole like wife. I met his wife, his dog, his sister, and he's actually my like one of my best friends coming out of college, and I'm like, dang, he's already married. He's already married. Like last week he went on his honey. Like he got married when he was 22, and he went on honeymoon just like a couple weeks ago. And it's just like again, it does make you think about like I'll say this: I'm not married, right? So it makes you think about where you should be in life.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, we're all not married. But
Doxing again? Okay.
But it does make you think
but
about where you should be in life. Like obviously, again, like everyone's different, but it's just very interesting because people do get married, and like not everyone takes the same path. But it does make you think of like, should I be married? Should I be in at least a relationship? Should I blah 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 blah? Should I be looking for a job? Blah blah blah. Like, should I be doing post grad? All this stuff goes into your mind. And it's just like the idea of like, especially coming out of college. I think high school and college are kind of the same periods. Like, what do I do from here on, right? Obviously, I'm more talking about like the post grad or post college life, but going into post grad. But I think the same thing as I have family members going into high school or graduating high school. It's kind of the same thing. Not to more of an extreme extent. I think college is a little bit more. Oh, I really do have to get my life together because I really can't go to school again. Um, but yeah, no.
hmm,
Yeah, I guess for me, like I've been working, and I'm about to go back to school. Um, so I don't know. I guess working and like having finished school initially, I think I, in a lot of ways, treated it, I don't know. I treated it very unseriously, I guess. Like, this is not the way I'm living my life, right? Um, like, socially, I just continued, talking to my friends from school. Like, I don't know, I somewhat just, like, continued on, like, with the way I was living my life in college. But I guess what I realized, a lot of my friends, left, college town, as we get further away from graduation. And, eventually, like, I think I only had, like, two people or three people I knew very well there. Um, and yeah, I think I just had to, reevaluate, like, how I'm gonna live my life, like, once I'm done with school, or I guess just how I'm gonna live my life in general, because I guess, grad school's not the same as undergrad, right? Like, I can't just, I don't know, go to like school events and like, spend all my time in school. Like, at the same time, I need to be my own person, um, and move on with my life, like you guys talked about, like with relationships, with growing as a person, with like hobbies, like all of that kind of stuff. Um, so I think that's just been something I've been really trying to figure out and make sure I iron out as I, start this next part of my life. And yeah.
So as someone again, who just graduated, and I was talking to some coworkers, and they're all congratulating me like, "Wow, this is the next big step of your life," Because I was just a little bit of a backstory. I was an intern, so I was a little working during this time. But then I got a job offer and promoted up, and so they're like, "Oh yeah, well we're glad to see you when you come back. You know, you'll have this new position, blah 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 blah." And then I talked to them, and they're like, I was like, "How? What did you do after you graduated? Right? Like, was it crazy? Did you like, was it devoted to work?" And they're like, admittedly, I didn't know what to do in my free time. And I know, like I said, you're going out of school and going back into it, but I'll just say this just to date ourselves a little bit. We're in the summertime, right? And we're in the spot where like we're not doing too much, and I am
Like a
getting
weird
to
date. I was like, oh, huh.
we we are in a spot where and I think this will be interesting for someone who is in school, by the way, to add opinion to this. But for Joshua, right? We're not in school, and I think we do have a lot of free time. It's like, what do we do in that free time? And half the time, unless I'm going out and like spending time with friends, I'm being a lazy bum. Admittedly, I'm like sleeping in. I have like responsibilities I do take care of, like family, dogs, animals, pets, and some stuff I do take care of. But like, admittedly, like I'm lazing around half the time, sleeping in. And I'm just enjoying life, and like I just came out of college. I think I deserve a little bit of it. But it's just like, yeah, what I do in my free time, and it's finding that time to fill in as I'm not in school anymore. I will be going back to school, but it's not now. And yeah, it's filling that time in, and I'm just very interested to hear if Joshua felt the same way, and for someone who's in school, who's probably working his butt off right now, and seeing how it's like. But yeah,
Yeah, like I think something just I don't get bored that easily. I think there's a lot of people who I don't know if they spend like a day rotting in their bed, they're bored. But I think I get bored on like the third day of bed rotting, right? So, yeah, I don't know. I don't think I need that much stimulation to be interested. But I like especially this like the last few months like my job was winding down all of that. I have had like a lot of free time and I have been I guess I've been feeling some of what you're feeling, but I also have school on the horizon, right, coming back up. So I can just be like, okay, I'm just like resting before school starts. I don't have to have like an existential crisis about what I'm gonna do with my free time. So
Hmm.
of course, how do you
I don't know.
feel since you're in school?
I will say I am slightly jealous of you two because I think both of you have like yeah, Joshua has like going back to school and like you have like a job and stability and like somewhat stability. But um, there is a thing with, especially with my profession. I've mentioned in the previous podcast I wanted to pursue screenwriting and art, where it's just a unstable career, especially when starting out, where there's a lot of ways to break into the industry, but there's not like one easy set way. So a lot of people try a bunch of things and like it's a bunch of trial and error. So it's like I don't know. The idea of me graduating is a little bit more harrowing because I'm like it is like a what now? What is my plan going forward out of like college? Do I know what I wanted, how I'm going to approach it? Do I know what exactly I want to approach and how I want to do it? It becomes a very it gives me like I don't know, like I said, I become really existential where I'm like, I need to prepare. I've not said this to you personally, but I've started taking like outside classes with like
He's
um
grinding.
just yeah, grinding. I've been doing like outside classes where I learn like I do a lot of like to get into my career. I like doing sketch like write comedy writing, so I've been taking more comedy classes on the side and like studying. I've been going to the library more often, just reading books. Like you could get like free screenplays and rereading those and trying to like grind harder. And it's fun because it's taking up my free time where I'm like, oh, I don't have um, but I always have the eerie feeling where I'm like, I don't know. I think I know what I want, but it is hard to tell if everything I'm doing is going to pay off or not. Um, it gets it's a bit nerve wracking, especially when you get on Instagram and you see your peers and you're like, one girl I follow just started a production company. We're in the same year. I'm like, damn, I didn't know you could do that. Obviously, different circumstances, yada yada. But I'm like, oh, I don't know. Uh, it it sometimes gets nerve wracking in comparison, like where you're like, I don't know. You get like, I can get in my own head being like, what am I going to do if she's doing that? Are you sure I should switch paths or like figure out something else? I don't know. It's I
Yeah.
end up with a lot of questions and not a lot of answers, so I keep working. Yeah.
So it's very interesting because I am in the spot. So again, I came out, but not too long ago, I actually almost didn't finish my engineering degree. I actually almost dropped out, and I almost became an international business major. So it's hard. School is hard, and I understand that. I remember it was my junior year, and I decided I'm gonna go full in on engineering, and I sat down and I was like, oh my god, I don't have the best looking resume. It's better than average, but like we'll come like I'm applying to like big companies, right? I'm applying to Boeing, Lockheed Martin, Microsoft, for a
Fox.
variety.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't, whatever. I don't, but I'm applying to these big companies, and funny news, I did not get accepted to most of them or get like any like actually firm offer or whatever. And it was really hard for me to see that because and I didn't know this at the time, but the CS market and just engineering market in general was it's kind of declining. Actually, funny enough, and we didn't know this at the time, but in the last 2 years it has declined. So a lot of people aren't hiring, and I was just like everyone so in the college I go to, a lot of people get internships at least with the engineering degree. A lot of people, like I think 80% get internships if you graduate,
Hmm.
and it's because of like the place we're in. It's very much focused on like the expertise of like CS and engineering. And I was like, I don't want to be the person to not be an internship and like have a chance to get a job offer out of college, right? And so I felt like it was really stressful for me at that time, and it taught me a lot of like, you know, I have some of these skills already, but it taught me a lot of skills I didn't have, and worrying and like being stressed. I bought a completely new suit. I'm not one, and you guys know this. I'm not one to look my best on my every day to day basis.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
uh,
What was
but
that weeb shirt you used to wear in high
I,
school?
it
It
was
was
a
like,
no game no life shirt. It was a main character shirt, and it was actually funny because it's a picture of me in a suit in the no game no life shirt. Because I was like, get the suit off of me.
mm.
If I can find it,
Is
I'll
it
post a picture right here.
wasn't that the same day you were wearing that? That was the steak store, which we will never get into. But yeah,
Oh, what the show's named after? That's crazy.
yeah.
But
I
yeah, no, that was crazy. But I will say, um, no, no, it's again coming in horrors from perspective where it's hard, right? And I understand that. It's interesting because like I'm now here and I'm like, oh, I get all the free time. I did my time. Move on, right? And like Joshua probably can do the same. Like he probably has hardship stories of him. I think it was like during when you were doing exams, you just like said, "Don't talk to me," and we didn't talk to you.
I don't know if I was that rude.
I don't think that. By the way, listeners, if you're out there, that's not his tone. That's not his usual tone. But
But it
I
was
yeah,
something
was
normal.
like, yeah, like next month I'm out of here. I'm not.
yeah,
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
yeah. And
So
by the way, that makes sense. Yeah.
unless anyone has anything else, I do want to get into a small thing of what
I
school
mean, I
was.
could.
Oh, sorry, what?
Oh, keep. Oh no, keep going. Keep going.
Oh, I just want to talk about like as I am transitioning to jobs, right? And the joke is I didn't learn anything in school, right? And you guys are in very different fields than me. I'll say that. The thing is, I think the thing I took away from college the most was it took a lot of skill sets away. I think literally half the stuff does not matter for what I do. I will never need to
Mm.
do differential equations. I would never have to do well. Okay, I'll never is a crazy word, but I won't have to do as much differential equations, open circuit stuff like that. Um, but I think what I do now, which is like research and stuff, it taught me a lot, right? And that will let me to like do good at my job because I'm able to do research, like the skill set of doing research, time management. Like no one sits at my desk and be like, Tommy, you need to do this. Like it's Tommy, you have a deadline. Get this done by this time. I don't care what you do, right? Like so um, yeah, no stuff like that. I was like for my skill sets and for like what I learned in school was all skill based, right? Like yes, I learned how to do complex equations. I know how to solve them, but I think it took away like the ability to research it and solve it, right? And it's for you guys, I think it's maybe very different. And I'm just curious, like, you're in arts. Josh was more in like a practical science. Um, I'm just curious on like how you guys would you guys are taking away from school or what you guys took away from school.
To be honest, I think college is mostly signaling. And I think there's like a more sophisticated way to discuss this. I forgot the exact terms. But like pretty much it's mostly just like a way in our society to signal, hey, this person has this level of competence, right? Like we could probably shorten like college to like a training program, right? For like your job that could be like a lot shorter, a lot more focused, only regarding like relevant information. But I think it um to some degree it's just like tradition, right? Like that's how education came up, so that's how it is today. But I think college also has a lot of other benefits. Like social like it's a social tradition, like especially in the United States, like very unique college culture with like frats and partying and just like, struggling together through classes. Like I think that's a pretty unique part of American culture. Not American culture, but just like for frats of American culture, but it's a unique part of our culture that like it's a growing up experience that a lot of people go through. And then I also think, I guess in the way you said, like yeah, like not everybody knows what they want to do when they graduate high school. There's some colleges like not some colleges, there's some countries where you graduate high school or even like before you get into high school, you have to already decide like your career path pretty much, right? And I think this gives people a lot more leeway because like nobody knows who they are before they're 18 or when they're 18 or like maybe even you're still figuring it out like throughout the rest of your 20s. But I think college gives you a pretty good buffer zone to explore your interest and really decide who you are before you commit it to a career before the rest of your life.
I agree with the point of like when I was applying to colleges and the college I end up choosing, it was a lot of like I'm going for prestige. Like I want to choose this college that shows the people who want to hire me that they came from this school. That means that they have some degree at this job. Give them a chance. That was very important to me. However, I guess I want to push back a little bit on like actually I think I generally agree with the points made. I guess I really lean into like the social element of like college more because the more and more time goes on, especially in the arts, where I do think like screenwriting, especially like through YouTube tutorials and like looking stuff online, you can like kind of learn how to do the job without ever like stepping inside a classroom. It's not. It doesn't seem that hard. It's not like. I mean, sure. I think once you get the job, you'll learn way more, and it'll be way better. Like learning than us. Like right now, it's more like a trial run in college. But really, what matters is like meeting people. If you're following an art and you're trying to do something art, you're most likely like face some pushback. Like, why are you doing a creative field that may or may not make any money from like people around you. And so it's fun. It's really useful to have a community of people who have chosen to follow like the same risky career that you chose when you were probably like 18, and then show you like, oh, there is paths. Like it may not be like what you imagined at 18, but like there is like a path for like stability and like things other than like there's paths in life to be like successful in your field and also like make money and be like have a altogether good life than like just being like a starving artist. So, which is not the goal. I did never signed up to be a starving artist. I actually love food. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm starting to feel really grateful for college. This also may be me being sentimental about like being my senior year, looking back on my college experience as a whole. But like I was like, I think there are like times where I talked to a professor, or I learned something about what to do next, or I gotten career advice from people that really has helped me figure out what to do next and help give me guidance that I don't think I would have ever gotten otherwise. So I don't know. I'm just like, uh, yeah. Clearly, the real problem with college is like it costs too much, and maybe we spend too much money on a bunch of things that we don't need. Especially if you have an idea of like what you want to do in life, maybe we don't need to like um, focus. I remember there was one kid who said like for a prerequisite he had to like learn mime. And I was like, and then I looked up he was a biology major. I was like, what are you doing? What are they doing with their labs? But I mean, I do in general come off and like saying I like the institution of college, even though it's too much money. And if you can't afford it, you should probably find something else if you don't like school. Yeah.
You know, it's an interesting case because we all came into college around COVID times, and you know, you talk about experiences and stuff like that. And I talk to my family all this time, and you know, they can make a running joke because like, you came into college at the worst time. You're paying full tuition to stay in your dorms 24/7, and for that was my first 2 years. Admittedly, things did not open up. I think we started taking off our mask. We started taking off our mask third my like midway through our second year, and I realized that I don't know. I said like at that point it was changed for me. Like I had to grind down my coursework. I think you know those were the years that I had to be more social, and I wasn't antisocial by the way. I have friends and I have very close friends I talk to every day, um, but I like obviously didn't like go out party. I didn't go out do stuff because you know I'm in engineering. I have like exams every day. I was taking like 5 to 6 classes almost every semester. Some of it my fault. Some of it you know it's just how it goes. But it's just very interesting because we all came into it at a terrible time, but we all have different experiences though, even in different ways. Like I said, um, again, I still met like very cool people, a lot of people, but you know, I didn't obviously you know party through my friend like not, I don't think any of us really did, but we didn't really party through or have that much. I didn't have that much excitement within my first couple of years. But that's okay. Everyone's different, and like I said, I came out well, and it's just very interesting how we all experienced it.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about as we talk about growing up, colleges, experiences, anything? No.
Um.
Oh.
Oh.
All right.
All right.
Well, I want to say you know thank you guys for watching episode 2 of the Stakes podcast, where we have the juiciest takes. And I want to thank you guys for watching. Thank you so much.